On July 1, 2024, Israel announced that the Golan Heights, which it occupies, had been attacked by drones, resulting in casualties for 18 Israeli soldiers. This is not the first time the Golan Heights has been embroiled in conflict. Since the Israel-Palestine conflict began, every clash has involved the Golan Heights. Moreover, any upheaval in the Middle East region affects the Golan Heights. Why does this small plateau attract the attention of so many Middle Eastern countries? And why has Israel insisted on holding the Golan Heights for decades, even though it originally belonged to Syria? In this video, we will explore the answers to these questions. The Golan Heights is a particularly strategic location situated in southwestern Syria, covering a total area of 1,800 square kilometers. In terms of sovereignty, there is no doubt that according to international law, the Golan Heights naturally belongs to Syria. However, a significant event changed the historical territorial landscape of this region. This event is closely related to the Jewish people, namely, in 1948, an important historical event occurred when the Jewish people established the independent state of Israel in Palestine. This event marked the beginning of a prolonged period of conflict between Israel and its Arab neighbors, leading to a series of wars and instability in the region. The decision to establish Israel not only reflected the Jewish people's aspiration for a safe homeland after the Holocaust, but also created major geopolitical and humanitarian tension. The Arab-Israeli wars, which began immediately after Israel declared independence, exacerbated the situation, causing the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians and creating a prolonged refugee crisis. Before the 1967 war, Syria began constructing numerous military facilities in the Golan Heights, which displeased Israel, leading to inevitable conflict in 1967. During the Six-Day War of 1967, the two sides engaged in a famous tank battle on the plateau. Israel emerged victorious after 6 days and captured the Golan Heights, forcing Syria to retreat and displacing a large number of Syrians. Israel then constructed a 60 kilometers long anti-tank trench along the Golan Heights, established 17 support points, and installed the most advanced electronic reconnaissance system. Israel transformed the Golan Heights into a frontline fortress, deploying 190 tanks, 44 artillery pieces, and 3 brigades. Syria, unwilling to let the Golan Heights fall into Israeli hands, quickly allied with other Arab nations to counterattack. In 1973, the Yom Kippur War erupted, reigniting the battle for the Golan Heights between Syria and Israel. At 2 p.m. on October 6th, 600 Syrian artillery pieces simultaneously opened fire. MiG fighter jets roared towards the plateau, and Scud missiles flew towards Israel's defensive positions, turning Israel's front line in the Golan Heights into a sea of fire. In response, Israel immediately deployed its elite air force, carrying out 384 sorties in 2 days, bombing Syrian troops and destroying many of their tanks. On October 8th, Israeli ground forces launched a counterattack in the Golan Heights, retaking the plateau within 2 days. During the October War, Syria temporarily recaptured 1/3 of the Golan Heights, but quickly lost it again. In May 1974, the two countries signed a disengagement agreement, dividing the Golan Heights into 2 parts. Since then, Israel has continuously infiltrated the Golan Heights, building numerous settlements and farms, turning the area into Jewish land. Meanwhile, the Arab world has persistently attempted to negotiate with Israel over the ownership of the Golan Heights. In 1995, under external pressure, Israel indicated it might return the Golan Heights in exchange for peace with Syria. In 1999, Israel passed a resolution to withdraw from the Golan Heights. But the complex and ever-changing situation in the Middle East has prevented this resolution from ever being implemented. Syria remains steadfast in its land for peace principle, declaring that there can be no peace without the return of the Golan Heights. Israel demands that Syria stop supporting Hamas and Hezbollah before discussing the Golan Heights issue. Therefore, there has been no significant progress in negotiations over the Golan Heights in the past half-century, with Israel maintaining strict control over the area. Meanwhile, the Syrians have been embroiled in war for the past 50 years, leaving them almost unable to resist Israel's illegal occupation of their ancestral land. Interestingly, After the Fifth Middle Eastern War, Israel returned over 60,000 square kilometers of the Sinai Peninsula, which it had illegally occupied for 15 years, but refused to return the Golan Heights, also occupied for the same period. Why did Israel act this way? What is so special about this land that makes Israel so eager to keep it from falling into Syrian hands? First, the Golan Heights serves as a natural fortress protecting Israel from threats from Syria. Strategically, it is a high point at the junction of Israel, Syria, and Lebanon, with an elevation of 2,700 meters, allowing direct surveillance of Syria's interior and its capital, Damascus. Controlling the Golan Heights means Israel's mechanized forces can easily threaten much of Syria's territory. During the 1967 war, Israel's swift capture of the Golan Heights posed a significant threat to Syria, forcing them to accept a ceasefire. In the 1973 war, the advantageous terrain of the Golan Heights greatly assisted Israel in repelling Syrian attacks. Although Syria achieved some initial victories, the difficult-to-penetrate nature of the plateau hindered further advances. Israel quickly reorganized, utilizing the terrain to reclaim lost areas and advance deeper into Syria. Additionally, the Golan Heights allows Israel to monitor Syrian military activities, reducing the effectiveness of Syria's radar systems and creating a natural strategic shield for Israel. The Golan Heights also improves Israel's fragile geopolitical environment. Since its founding, Israel has been isolated by the Arab world. Controlling the Golan Heights provides Israel with leverage in negotiations with neighboring countries, alleviating its sense of isolation. After the Six-Day War, Syria's military development, supported by the Soviet Union, posed a potential threat to Israel. The Golan Heights played a crucial role in maintaining strategic balance in pre-war negotiations and military confrontation, allowing Israel to hold the upper hand in peace talks. For Israel, controlling the Golan Heights also helps prevent the spread of the Syrian civil war and reduces the threat from extremist groups in Syria. The most important reason Israel is determined to hold on to the Golan Heights is its water resources for the entire Arab region. The Middle East faces severe water scarcity, with countries like Saudi Arabia lacking long rivers and abundant water sources, relying heavily on costly and time-consuming seawater desalination. The Golan Heights, known as the Water Tower of the Middle East, provides vital water resources. The Banias River, a major source of the Jordan River, originates here, contributing 20% of the Jordan River's flow. The Golan Heights also allows control over the Jordan River, the Yarmouk River, and Lake Tiberias, crucial freshwater sources for Israel and neighboring countries. The Golan Heights has over 100 springs, providing more than 400 million cubic meters of water annually, accounting for 20% of Israel's available water resources. Thus, 40% of Israel's fresh water comes from the Golan Heights, making its water resources irreplaceable. Besides supplying water, the Golan Heights also controls the flow of the Jordan River, affecting Jordan's interests, as the Jordan River is their only water source. Israel's control over 46% of the Jordan River's flow severely impacts Jordan and downstream Palestinian areas. Before 1967, the Golan Heights occupied only 1% of Syria's territory, but contributed 3% of its annual rainfall and 14% of its water reserves. After its occupation, Syria faced severe water shortages, even in its capital Damascus, relying on external water sources. From the above analysis, we can see that the Golan Heights provides Israel with invaluable water resources, no less important than its strategic geographical position. Recognizing this since the 1960s, Israel has held the Golan Heights for over half a century, despite Arab world opposition and Syrian dissatisfaction. This determination is not only due to its strategic position, but also because its vital water resources make it irreplaceable for Israel, a coveted target for other Middle Eastern nations. For Israel, the Golan Heights is not only a natural fortress protecting against northern attacks, but also a key water source for the nation. In a water-scarce region like the Middle East, the springs and lakes on the Golan Heights are valuable assets. This further increases the strategic value of this land, making Israel determined to maintain control. The occupation of the Golan Heights also gives Israel a military advantage. From here, the Israeli military can monitor and quickly respond to any military movements from Syria, creating a safe buffer zone to protect the national border. The robust defense system, including anti-tank trenches, military support points, and advanced reconnaissance systems, has transformed the Golan Heights into an important military stronghold. However, controlling the Golan Heights has also caused prolonged disputes and tensions in international relations. The Arab world and Syria continuously demand that Israel return this land, considering it an inseparable part of Syria's territory. This dissatisfaction and tension have led to many unsuccessful peace negotiations, keeping the region in a state of constant tension. In conclusion, the Golan Heights is vital for Israel, not only because of its strategic position, also due to its precious water resources. Israel's determination to hold on to this land reflects its importance in national defense and security strategy, and is a clear testament to the complex and persistent challenges in Middle Eastern politics.